If oil disappears tomorrow, you will run out of food within 6 hours and suffer a power outage within 48 hours. Within 72 hours, global civilization will collapse. You think oil is just the fuel you put in your car? No. The clothes you wear, the roads you walk on, and the phone case in your hand are all made from oil. A barrel of black crude oil looks like something fished out of a stinky ditch. But after it enters the refinery, a terrifying thing will happen. It can simultaneously turn into more than a dozen substances, each of which controls a vital part of your life. The weirdest thing is that the lightest layer in oil is the gas you use for cooking every day, and the heaviest layer is the asphalt road you step on every day. A barrel of this substance connects your kitchen to the ground beneath your feet. This is not magic, but the result of chemical decomposition over the past 200 years. What's more terrifying is that the world consumes 100 million barrels of oil every day, yet no one knows exactly how it was formed. Scientists are still debating whether oil was formed from the remains of dinosaurs billions of years ago, or whether the Earth itself is continuously producing it. If it is the latter, then the claim that humanity is running out of oil may be a lie that has deceived the world for a century. Today, we will completely break down this barrel of black liquid to uncover the secrets it holds. Crude oil just pumped from the ground is not as mysterious as you think. It is black, sticky, and gives off a pungent odor, resembling a bucket of thick ink. If you see it for the first time, you would never associate it with airplanes, clothing, or medicine. Yet it is this seemingly unremarkable black liquid that supports the entirety of modern industrial civilization. The formation of crude oil is itself a miracle spanning hundreds of millions of years. About 300 to 500 million years ago, countless tiny plankton lived in Earth's oceans. When they died, their remains sank to the seabed and were buried by layers of sediment. Over time, under high temperature and pressure, these organic materials underwent a long chemical process, and eventually turned into what we now call oil and natural gas. In other words, the fuel you pump at the gas station essentially comes from the compressed remains of countless organisms from hundreds of millions of years ago. Yet there is a question that scientists have debated for decades. Is oil really only derived from biological remains? Soviet scientists proposed a subversive theory in the last century, arguing that oil is not biogenic at all, but an organic substance naturally synthesized deep within the earth. If this theory is correct, then oil will never run out, as the earth will keep producing it on its own. This theory has neither been fully refuted nor confirmed, lingering like a thorn in the heart of the entire petroleum industry. Crude oil cannot be used directly after being extracted. It must be sent to a refinery and fed into a distillation tower dozens of meters high. This tower is one of the most sophisticated devices in human industrial history. Its function sounds simple, separating crude oil, but the separation process is astonishingly precise. The distillation tower works by exploiting the differing boiling points of the components in crude oil. When heated, light, low boiling point components vaporize first, while heavy, high boiling point components vaporize later, or remain at the bottom. Collection ports at different heights of the tower capture substances with completely distinct properties. One barrel of crude oil goes in, and more than a dozen products come out. This tower is a real alchemy machine. Even more astonishingly, the process produces almost no waste. Every component of crude oil serves a purpose. Not a single drop is wasted. Humanity has spent nearly 200 years studying this black liquid thoroughly, squeezing every bit of value from it. The first substance to emerge from the top of the distillation tower is liquefied petroleum gas, commonly known as LPG. It is gaseous at room temperature, but turns liquid under slight pressure, stored and transported in steel cylinders. The gas tank in your kitchen is filled with it. The blue flame you use for cooking is essentially the burning of marine life from billions of years ago, a fact terrifying in itself. LPG is not only for cooking, it is the primary fuel for daily life, in many rural areas and developing countries, supporting over 2 billion people worldwide for cooking and heating. If supplies were cut off, the kitchens of 2 billion people would go cold. Below LPG is gasoline, the most famous petroleum product. Many people believe gasoline is the main use of oil, but this is a major misunderstanding. Gasoline makes up only about 20% of a barrel of crude oil, less than a quarter. Yet this small fraction powers more than 1.5 billion vehicles worldwide. Every time you fill up your tank, you are paying for a carefully selected and repeatedly refined fraction of crude oil. Gasoline is expensive not only because crude oil is costly, but also because its refining process is complex, requiring multiple treatments to meet engine standards. A key metric of gasoline is its octane rating. The numbers 92, 95, and 98, seen at pumps. The higher the number, the better the anti-knock performance, and the smoother the engine runs. These numbers represent decades of chemical research and countless engineering tests. Your casual choice at the pump is a product of precise scientific engineering. Below gasoline is naphtha, a little-known substance that is more ubiquitous in daily life than gasoline. The polyester t-shirt you wear, plastic shopping bags, shoe rubber, plastic basins, chairs, water pipes, and even many ingredients in shampoo and body wash all come from naphtha. It is the foundational raw material of the modern chemical industry. When sent to chemical plants, it is further cracked into ethylene, propylene, and other basic chemicals, from which thousands of products are derived. It is no exaggeration to say that modern life is half built on naphtha. It stays out of the headlines, but if it vanished, supermarket shelves would empty within days. Below naphtha is kerosene. To most people, kerosene evokes outdated lamps, but it is the lifeblood of modern aviation. Without it, all aircraft would be grounded. Aviation kerosene, or jet fuel, is specially formulated for aircraft engines. A Boeing 747, flying from Beijing to New York burns nearly 150 tons of jet fuel, and over 100,000 daily flights consume more than 2 million tons of it each day. Planes do not use gasoline because it is too volatile. At high altitudes, low temperatures, and low pressure, gasoline forms bubbles that cause fuel system blockages and engine stalls. Kerosene, with a higher boiling point and lower volatility, burns steadily at -50 degrees C. Aircraft rely on kerosene not for cost, but for its unrivaled stability in extreme conditions. Further down the tower is diesel, the true backbone of the global economy. Many view diesel as a low-grade fuel for trucks and tractors, but it is indispensable. Diesel accounts for over 30% of crude oil, far more than gasoline, and global daily diesel consumption is nearly double that of gasoline. Farming tractors, construction excavators, highway trucks, port cranes, and ocean-going cargo ships all run on diesel. Every online package, every piece of fresh produce, and every grain of rice reaches you via diesel-powered logistics. Diesel is the lifeblood of modern material civilization. A supply cutoff would empty supermarket shelves nationwide within 3 days. Below diesel is heavy oil, a thick, syrupy, dark substance rarely encountered in daily life but critical to the global energy system. Most ocean-going vessels burn heavy oil. Large container ships consume thousands of tons per voyage. With high energy density and low cost, it is ideal for large, cost-sensitive power needs. Over 80% of global trade is seaborne, largely powered by heavy fuel oil. It also serves as an important power source in regions with underdeveloped energy infrastructure, offering cheap, stable, and storable energy despite being less clean than natural gas. Heavy oil is the unsung workhorse of the petroleum family, bearing the heaviest burdens with little recognition. Without it, global trade would collapse. Beneath heavy oil is lubricating oil, a niche product with outsized importance. The oil added to car engines during maintenance is lubricating oil, which forms a thin film over hundreds of high-speed metal engine parts, preventing overheating and wear. A multi-million yuan engine depends on this thin layer. Lubricating oil is essential for cars, aircraft, ships, factory machinery, and wind turbines. The more precise modern industry becomes, the more it relies on lubrication. It is truly the invisible guardian of industry. At the very bottom of the distillation tower lies asphalt, the heaviest, thickest, and most unmanageable component. Black as ink and dense as plasticine, it appears worthless, yet it paves the backbone of human infrastructure. Most of the world's 60 million kilometers of roads are asphalt, which is waterproof, pressure-resistant, and heat-resistant, enduring decades of traffic. It is also used in roofing, bridges, runways, and dams. Asphalt is the most grounded petroleum product, quite literally under our feet. The expansion of human civilization is intertwined with the paving of asphalt roads. Without them, modern logistics and global connectivity would not exist. Many people only think of oil as fuel, but its most valuable role is as a chemical feedstock. About 15 to 20% of global oil production is not burned, but converted into chemicals, supporting the entire modern chemical industry. Medicines, fertilizers, pesticides, synthetic fibers, plastics, rubber, dyes, detergents, and cosmetics all trace back to oil. A staggering fact, global fertilizer production relies heavily on petrochemicals, sustaining much of the food supply for 7 billion people. Oil does not just power cars, it feeds humanity. Oil has never been merely a commodity. Since the 20th century, it has been the most critical geopolitical chip. Wars, conspiracies, sanctions, and power struggles over oil are more dramatic than any political thriller. In 1973, Middle Eastern oil producers imposed an embargo on Western nations, sending oil prices soaring nearly 400% in months. U.S. gas stations saw kilometers-long lines. European nations imposed speed limits and blackouts, and factories shut down en masse. The crisis ended the post-war economic boom, and shocked the capitalist world into realizing oil is a weapon. Whoever controls oil controls the lifeline of modern civilization. In subsequent decades, oil interests loomed behind nearly every Middle Eastern conflict, the Gulf War, Iraq War, and Libyan civil war. Oil brings wealth, but often also a curse. Economists call this the resource curse. Nations rich in resources often fall into poverty, corruption, and war. Nigeria, Africa's top oil exporter, earns tens of billions annually from oil, yet over 40% of its people live in extreme poverty, with crumbling infrastructure and endless conflict. Venezuela, once South America's wealthiest nation with the world's largest proven oil reserves, saw its oil wealth squandered by corruption, leading to economic collapse, empty stores, and mass emigration. Oil enriches a few while impoverishing the many, boosting short-term prosperity but eroding long-term development. Only nations that invest oil revenues in education, technology, and diversified economies truly benefit. Today, the world talks of energy transition, renewable energy, and ending oil dependence. Electric vehicle sales surge, and solar and wind capacity expand. Many believe the age of oil is ending, but reality is more complex. Global oil consumption hit a record high in 2023 at around 102 million barrels per day. While EVs reduce gasoline demand, global economic growth and industrialization in developing nations drive total oil demand higher. More importantly, EVs replace gasoline but not naphtha, asphalt, lubricants, or petrochemicals. An electric car still uses oil-based tires, plastic parts, and interior materials, and its factory machinery runs on lubricating oil. Energy transition can cut oil use as fuel, but oil's role as a raw material remains irreplaceable for decades. Scientists research bio-based plastics, degradable materials, and green chemistry, but true replacement of petrochemicals is still far off. Optimistically, oil dependence will decline sharply by the mid-21st century, but not disappear entirely. Oil will remain vital to human civilization. In hindsight, the story of oil is a condensed history of modern civilization, from the first oil well in Pennsylvania in the mid-19th century to today's 100 million barrel daily consumption. Oil has reshaped human production, livelihoods, and warfare in under 200 years. It enabled cars, planes, modern agriculture, and global trade, yet also brought pollution, war, corruption, and climate change. It is one of humanity's greatest discoveries and heaviest dependencies. From the lightest LPG to gasoline, naphtha, kerosene, diesel, heavy oil, lubricating oil, and finally asphalt, every layer of crude oil touches a part of your life. Your kitchen, car, clothes, roads, food, and medicine. Oil is invisible and easily overlooked, but without it, almost nothing in the world functions normally. This is no exaggeration, it is a fact. Modern civilization is built on this barrel of black liquid,